to improve the efficiency for transactions, the actual utility of Bitcoin. So,
We made it faster. It's 2.5 minutes per block as opposed to 10 minutes for Bitcoin. The general idea was to kind of complement Bitcoin. I saw it as, like, I kind of marketed it as silver to Bitcoin's gold. I see Litecoin and Bitcoin working side by side.
and so this is not a competing cryptocurrency effectively. You actually really do see it as a symbiotic relationship.
I do, but it's in some sense it's competing, right? It's competing for mind share. Definitely, it's a different coin. So if people using Litecoin, they may not use Bitcoin. So it does compete a little bit, but I see it more as complementary.
What got you interested? Because I mean, you have a very different background than most people. First of all, you were not born in the United States or even China, as I understand it. You came from the Ivory Coast. How did you end up there?
Well, my dad was there. He had a business, so grew up in Ivory Coast. And came to the U.S. when I was a teenager.
And did you come with your family at that point, or?
Okay, actually, I came by myself, boarding school in the East Coast.
Do you mind so you went to boarding school on the East Coast. This is a choice of your families, or is this something that was interesting, important to you?
It was a choice of my family. I think the environment in Ivory Coast was getting a little bit crazy with overthrowing of the governments and just demonstration on the streets. So decided to send me and my brother to boarding school, also for a better education.
And so from boarding school on the East Coast, you then went to MIT, where you focused on computer science, correct?
Correct, yeah.
And from MIT, you went to the West Coast.
Yeah, I went to Silicon Valley and been there ever since.
And that was roughly 2000?
Yeah, at the peak of the dot-com boom.
So you got to live through the peak of the dot-com boom. You began working for Google when?
In 2006.
So this would have been right after Google went public then?
A couple years after, I think.
A couple of years after
Actually,
Google.
2007.
2007. Okay. And when you think about that transition to Google, one of the things that Google has encouraged its employees to do is to take time to focus on personal projects. Is that where your interest in Bitcoin and Litecoin emerged, or how did you move from working on Chrome, which was one of your projects, as I understand it,
Chrome OS, actually, yeah,
to focusing on crypto?
Yeah, I was actually just spending all my time outside of work on cryptocurrencies. Yeah, I found out about Bitcoin in 2011 and kind of just went down that rabbit hole and been, I guess, in it ever since.
What was the motivation? What got you interested? What was, other than the mathematical challenge of crypto, which I know can be exciting for some people?
Yeah, I kind of I saw Bitcoin as a better version of gold, actually a better form of money that we've ever seen, and that just captured my attention. I've always understood how gold and silver were used throughout history as money, and how we came to the fiat currencies we have today. And I just saw Bitcoin as just kind of very similar to gold, but better, and it could actually replace the current monetary system. And I also understood like the math and the cryptography behind it. So I guess really captured my attention.
A lot of people became interested in Bitcoin. The work of Satoshi was published in the immediate aftermath of the global financial crisis. Was that a motivating factor for you, looking at the current system and saying this didn't work, or?
Yeah, definitely. Like I saw that, for one thing, currently we have a system of money that the government can inflate away, right? They can, with quantitative easings and other things, they can just print more money and devalues everyone's currencies. And I also saw that because of that, it's not good to keep your money in the bank, right? Because your money will become less valuable over time. So it kind of forces people to essentially gamble with their money, right? They have to put it in the stock market or some other asset class that doesn't get devalued or that has potential of making more money. And effectively, it just keeps the same purchasing power, right? Because of the devaluation of the US dollar, and if you make 3, 5, 10% on your investment, effectively you're just keeping the same purchasing power. So I think it's just a broken system. And with something like gold or Bitcoin, it's a better form of money, I would say.
And so are you ambivalent between the idea of an alternative currency in the form of gold versus Bitcoin or Litecoin? Or do you see the need for an electronic version because of the challenges of gold,
Yeah,
transactions,
definitely.
et cetera?
I mean, gold is great. Um, Government can't devalue it. It's fixed supply, right? But the problem is there's storage cost, and then if you want to transfer it, it's not easy to transfer gold cross country, cross borders. But something like Bitcoin and Litecoin, it has pretty much all the good properties of gold, except it's not physical, and then you can store it cheaply and you can transfer it cheaply. It's just a better form of gold.
So one of the challenges that I always look at when I look at this idea that it's a better currency, right? There's a school of thought that says currencies are about the efficiency or the ease of use, right? Which definitely crypto and even arguments behind things like electronic gold or gold script, et cetera, by and large attempt to address. Certainly our credit-based system is much more associated with the ease and facilitation of transactions. But there is a second role, which is the role of the state, right? Which has a monopoly, at least under current constructs, on violence and the enforcement of contracts as it relates to those currencies. How do you think about crypto addressing those dynamics and the transition process, right, in which the state will ultimately have to forfeit that monopoly?
From my point of view, I don't think the state needs control of money, right? Money is just a way where people can transfer and store value, right? There's no reason why the state needs to have control over it. I mean, only recently do we have like the concept of fiat currency where the state has control over it. I mean, throughout history, we've always used things like gold and silver as real money, as ways to transfer and store value. And I think Bitcoin will help us get back to that better kind of way of people using money.